Following down the amber stairs of birth, forerunners of a divine multitude, out of the paths of the morning star they came, into the little room of mortal life. I saw them cross the twilight of an age, the sun-eyed children of a marvelous dawn, the great creators with wide brows of calm, the massive barrier breakers of the world, and wrestlers with destiny in her lists of will, the laborers in the quarries of the gods, the messengers of the incommunicable, the architects of immortality. So, Litika Di just told about what is the actual purpose of existence. So Mother says a total self-giving to the divine is the true purpose of existence. And she also touched upon the point that we have a representative part of the divine hidden in every atom, in every being. So that is what we are here for, to reveal that, to express that within us. Okay, I'll start with a small activity for all of you. So, can any one of you say what do you see over there? Flower. Okay, if I ask a few more lines about it. Anyone? You can stand up and say. How do you can tell a few lines about what you see. What is it? Sorry? Waterfall. You can describe a flower. You can describe whatever comes to you. At least can you name the plant? Silence. We are not able to. Okay. How would you describe what you are seeing? The flowers that you see, how would you describe that? Yeah. Small and beautiful. Good. Any other things that you observe? Next. This one? What do you? Card. Do you study botany? Biology, do you study? So can you tell what is this? This one? Okay. Which is this fourth flower? Lily. So we have different ways of identifying, right? So the way Litika Didi was asking, if I ask you who are you, what would you say? You will identify yourself by so and so name. So name meaning there are some traits which tell you about which family this flower belongs to. And how do we see that? We observe through our eyes and we say, right? Whatever is seen, whatever is visible to us, we identify. Based on that, we identify a particular family of plants. However, there are names other than what we study in our science books also. So science is based on what we see through our external senses, our eyes, one discussion. We also want to hear what you are talking about, if it's more interesting. Okay. Now, we got an answer describing what is this exactly. So it's small and beautiful, somebody said. So that is even beyond science, right? Somebody can also say that they look beautiful and they give me joy. So that is something beyond the physical. What we are seeing on the physical plane of existence, beyond that lies our emotions. Okay? So then we can describe our feelings. So that's coming from the emotional center. Our physical plane can only be explained by science. Science doesn't go beyond the physical plane. So there is something more than science in this universe, in this world. So, and going beyond, we can tell that it gives us joy, it gives us happiness. Okay, so that's the emotional plane, emotional field. And there is something even beyond that. So we can tell, we can just say that how it is organized, the petals and all. So that's another plane of existence as well. So that's the mental plane. And based on a subtle language spoken by the flowers, the mother has given the spiritual significance of the flowers. If you see, flowers are the most receptive in nature. If there is anything receptive in nature, the flowers are the most receptive. And that receptivity makes them special. They have a particular attribute, they carry a particular attribute. So she says that's aster. The first flower that I have shown you, that's aster. So the mother says that it's sincerity. The character of that particular flower is sincerity. So sincerity is again, that's something which is required very much after. So Deepika spoke about our goal, our aim in life. So once we have identified our aim, what are the different things required to achieve that aim? So these are some of the tools. So that aster represents sincerity. And then the next flower, here on the bottom corner, if you see right corner, so that stands for courage. And that's calendula. The yellow flower is calendula. That stands for perseverance. And the middle one stands for progress. So we need all these attributes, all these characteristics. Sincerity is of utmost importance. And then comes courage. Courage to move on the path. So once we have decided our goal, we'll be facing many difficulties, many dangers on the way. And if we are not well equipped to face them, we would not be able to reach our aim. So that is where all these are required. So that's why courage is needed. And then comes perseverance. So we have to face the same difficulties, inner and outer, again and again. That's what is known as perseverance. Okay? And then we are able to progress. Okay? So, if all of you, are you liking this or no, you are just sitting out of compulsion? Is it a forceful liking or a spontaneous liking? Okay, so the mother says, try to do with joy all that you do. When you take interest in what you do, then you enjoy doing it. And to be interested in what you do, you must try to do it better. So there are certain subjects that you may not like, right? And what's the reason for not liking those subjects? Because we are not trying enough to understand those. So that is where mother says that we must take an interest in them. We must try to understand, then only we will be able to understand. Now Deepika has already spoken about aim. I'll not elaborate on this. What do you see on this slide about the evolution of man? Do you see that part? Evolution of man. So, can you think what could be the next stage in all progressing. Nature is an instrument which is driving towards that perfection. So it's not stagnant, it's not stopping somewhere. Just that evolution is a very slow process. All of you must be knowing that. It's not visible to our eyes in a lifetime. It takes long years to attain the current stage at what we are. So, but still nature strives. Nature strives towards perfection, towards excellence, towards that perfect form. Until she has attained that, she would not stop. So all of you, do you think we are all perfect? The present phrase that we are we all perfect, or we are still evolving, progressing, marching ahead? Is it a journey? Do you feel like we are in a journey? Good. So how many of you have read Jonathan Livingston Seagull? Any one of you have read that book? Do you know that story? Jonathan Seagull? Do you know what a seagull is? Can someone say what is a seagull? Someone stand up and say. What's a seagull? And what is its characteristics? Yes, and then? Very good. So seagulls, she says, your name. So she says that seagulls are birds which live near the seashore and they eat fishes. So there was one such seagull who was also born into this particular race of seagulls, and it started observing the manner in which seagulls live. So it was tired of the same routine, same monotonous journey of going to catch fish day in and day out, nothing else in life, just catch fish and eat, catch fish and eat. So what did it try to do? The name of that seagull is Jonathan Livingston. What did it try to do? It tried to go beyond its own race, because of which its particular, the community in which it lived, they started opposing the seagull. They said, how can you dare to do this? This is not something possible. This is impossible by a seagull. But Jonathan said, no, I will definitely break out of this routine, dull routine. So it started flying higher in search of some kind of light till it gets some guide. It gets another seagull as a guide who says that there is some light beyond. You have to travel, you have to fly even further and higher. And that is where the seagull goes beyond and learns how to fly the highest. And despite all the opposition that she has received from her clan, it's not tired. Again, it comes back to the earth with the knowledge that she has gained and teaches rest of the seagull community about how to aim higher, how to fly higher. Okay? So if you get time, you can read this book. So this is about that Jonathan Livingston seagull, and what it says, we can be free, we can learn to fly. So she was speaking about freedom, right? So this is what the seagull is also telling, Jonathan is also telling about. The mother says, an aimless life is always miserable. So why is it miserable? We get up in the morning, anytime, no hurry. So we do not have any aim, right? We can sleep as much as we want. We eat whatever we want. There's no routine, nothing. So just lie down at leisure. So why? There's no misery in it. We lead a lavish life. So why is it miserable? It would be same, equal as that of any other animals living on this planet with us, right? Sheep, goats, cows, horses, they also do the same thing. They get up in the morning, go in search of some food, come back and sleep. So would there be any difference between the highest species of creation of nature till now and between the rest of the species on this earth, there will be no difference between us. So we are someone who is unique. We are born to do something special, like Jonathan Seagull. So every one of you should have an aim, but do not forget that on the quality of your aim will depend the quality of your life. So what does this mean? By quality, what do you mean? So that quality is more than the outer quality that she's speaking about. This is again by the mother. So she's not just telling about the outer external quality. It's about the inner qualities. What are those qualities? I showed you some of those. Courage, sincerity, right? So those are the qualities that defines. Those are just very few qualities I have mentioned. So that define why we are born. And your aim should be high and wide, generous and disinterested. Okay? So she told you the perfect example of an aim, how it can be. So Sri Aurobindo. So I have two examples. So if you see, she is the mother, born as Mira Alfassa in Paris in 1878. From a very young age, she was aware of her aim. At the age of 4 itself, she began contemplating on something great that she was born to do. So again, breaking free from the conventions, the dull, dread, the usual normal routine. So she started to feel that there is something beyond, which her purpose is something beyond all this. And then finally, she has been able to work towards that aim. It's a rigorous working towards that aim. Lord, thou hast willed and I execute. A new light breaks upon the earth, a new world is born. The things that were promised are fulfilled. So she is the divine who has brought down a tremendous force onto this earth, known as the supramental force. So that which is at work, which is helping nature for evolution into the next stage, the next race that we are to be born into. And Sri Aurobindo's example she has already told you about. So he started his aim at academic excellence. He excelled academically. He achieved that civil services as well. That was the peak of his academics. And then he left everything at a drop of a hat. And then he moved on to a very ordinary job. And there also, he started again from scratch and he started working towards freeing his country. And again, when he's sure that India is going to be free, and there is still another aim which needs to be fulfilled for a free India, which he wanted to give mankind, but he leaves that also. When people were running after him for his leadership, when they are looking towards him for his advice, tell us, you speak to us the word, we are ready to carry out, we are ready to execute. Thousands of Indians were following him like mad people. At that point of time, he left just like this, everything that he had attained, and he went to some kind of isolation in Pondicherry. So that is his aim, to free mankind from the clutches of we are slaves right now to all these things. So he went on to free us.
Absolutely say yes, isn't it?
Suppose say our parents did not enroll us for any school. Can we still learn? So what is actually, how do we learn? What is it that we are learning? So that is what the mother says. It is not for our family. It's not to secure good position. It's not to earn money. It's not to obtain a diploma that we study. We study to learn, to know, to understand the world, and for the sake of the joy that it gives us. So we learn to understand the world around us, and for the sake of the joy that it is giving us. Okay? And what is our aim? It is not success but perfection. What is that perfection? So perfection till now has been a journey. Even nature herself is in pursuit of some kind of perfection, trying to experiment on new forms, on new kinds of races, which will be the perfect one to thrive on earth. So that is what perfection is. So why do we study? Studies strengthen the mind, okay, and also turn its concentration away from the many. We are running in many directions. Suppose say you are just let free. What would you do? You would just run simply right here and there. You just go about and run around. So that is why it's very important to train ourselves, to develop that concentration, that power of concentration, for which studies are important. They strengthen our mind and they turn us away from the many impulses and desire of the vital. Okay. What is it called in local language here? Okay. So this plant has the significance of aspiration. So this is plain one, which stands for will. So we have to resolve, we need to have the willpower, and we have to aspire for a better life, to progress. What we are today, we need to be better tomorrow, right? So that is where we need to strengthen our will. So this is the power of concentration, if you see. And then comes observation. We have to observe ourselves very vigilantly. We have to be very vigilant and observe our many movements. Doesn't mean that what we are doing with our nails, fingers, toes, etc. It's not that kind of observation. That is also important. But there is some other kind of observation. We have to observe ourselves within. Suppose say, I want to secure full marks in a subject. Why do I want to do it? What's the reason behind it? Is it just because I want to compete with my friend, or is it just I want to perfect myself in that subject? If it is to perfect myself, then it's okay. Even if I'm not getting the full marks, it's still okay. Right? So that kind of observation is required. Where are our thoughts, our impulses, or our actions? Where are they arising out of? What is the motive behind every action? So that is how we try to understand ourselves. So there are some physical, there are different things. So if you see this, as I was telling in the first few slides, as I was telling you about, the different parts in us, right? Our physical is goes by the observation of our senses, through our senses. That is how we see, we perceive. So we have a physical plane. Then we have a vital, that's the center of emotion, from where our emotions are arising. And then we have a part, the mental part, which helps us in organizing. It's like a logical unit in us. So, but these can function only when we have a central part in us. The core center is known as the psyche. So that is the most important part. And that is exactly the reason why we need to understand ourselves, why we need to be educated. So that center has to be revealed and it has to express through the different elements. Okay, so there are a few more slides. Okay, we have more time actually. And, yeah.
What means to break through the common routine?
To break through the common routine. So routine is something like, see, it's like a herd mentality. What do human beings normally do? Am I audible? Yeah. Human beings, what do they normally do? So, as children, we are not much aware about the true purpose of why we are studying. We study because we want to get good marks, or we want to secure a good rank, or we want to have a good job. So that's why we are studying. But there is some other reason why we need to study. There's a joy in learning, right? But human beings, what they do, they always focus on the superficial aspects. So what gives them momentary happiness, which is very short-lived. So they will aim for, if we get good marks, if we secure a good rank, it will make us happy for some time, right? In the next class, if we do not do that good, then we feel again depressed. So that's all momentary happiness. And all of us are in the same path. Again, once we get a good job, what next? Again, we aim for something, even palatial building for ourselves, or a good family for ourselves. So this is the routine that keeps all human beings busy, engaged. Always he's thinking like the rest of the seagulls. Where do I get fish next? So it's something similar to that. Only Jonathan has been able to break himself free from that routine. He does not think that this is his need to go in the routine of finding fish every day. He aims for something higher. He wants to fly high. So that is what it means by breaking from the routine. So routinely what is usually followed by everyone around us. We usually do that. So, am I clear? Any other question?